Hey, and welcome to video number 2. We're going to be talking about mindset roadblock number 1 and when right is not always right. So I'm going to be talking about a specific strategy that you can use to combat perfection and how you can use it to grow closer to your customers and make your customers a lot more happier. So perfection is a biggest roadblock that you will face, especially when you're having an idea or a product. Now, keep in mind this strategy really only works in online business. It doesn't really work with offline tangible products like a car or something like where you need to do as much testing to make sure that there are no defects. So this relates more so on services, online business, anything that could be done online. And it doesn't really have to be internet marketing. It can do anything online. So perfection, the definition of that is the condition, the state, or quality of being free or as free as possible from all flaws or defects. So that's a pretty big thing there, where it says possible, as free as possible from all flaws or defects. And that's just going to tell you that if you want your product to be perfect, it's a never-ending process. So if you have too high of an expectation, then you're never gonna be able to get everything done, and you're gonna come out disappointed. And in addition to that, you're going to become overwhelmed, and there's going to be a lot of other things. So the whole idea here is that perfection is a big roadblock. Now, I'm not asking you to lower your standards. However, I'm asking you to use the strategy that I'm about to share with you so that you can combat perfection and realize that perfection actually goes against you and goes against your customers. So people that are waiting for your product to be released, if you're trying to be perfect, then eventually they're going to get sick and tired and go find, your competitor's product. So there is a window of opportunity. And if you don't take that window of opportunity, then you will fail. Perfection is procrastination in disguise. So if you imagine, perfection, trying to do it over and over and over until you're perfect, you're prolonging the process of getting your product out there, getting your idea out there. Yes, so it's a very long process where you will never be able to get it done. So perfection is your enemy. You can't launch a product yet. Perfect does not build a relationship. So customer feedback, let me give you an example here so that you can understand where I'm coming from and so that you can really relate to this process, and it will really make a difference in the way you think and how you think. So customer feedback. Imagine that as a customer, if you gave somebody feedback on a software product or requested a feature, you say, hey, there's a bug here, it's not fixed, or hey, I really would like this to happen, and that would be cool if you would add this feature, or, it would really make my life easier if you added this feature. So imagine that. Imagine you giving a product owner some feedback, right? And they implemented it. What are your thoughts about this seller? How do you feel about this seller? Let me give you another example. Now, imagine if you gave somebody the feedback on the software product, the features, or requested a feature, and they totally ignored you. They said, hey, your feedback is not worthwhile. My product is perfect. It doesn't really need any more additional features, and they totally ignore you. What are your thoughts about this seller? Obviously, the first seller you're happy with because you're like, wow, this person actually took my feedback and implemented it, you feel closer to that person, right? The second person, you probably don't feel as close to that person. Now, that's not to say that you will do this, but here's the strategy now that you understand this. The strategy, this works with online business. Offline products are a little different. First of all, come to terms of what your initial version will look like, whether it's a software, whether it's an online site, or whatever. Come to terms of what your initial version, your product should look like. What is the base platform? And number two, you need to release the product. Once you hit that goal, then release the product. Don't go any further. Release the product or the business idea. As that process is going on, your customers are going to give you feedback. There's no doubt in my mind that customers will not give you feedback. Your customers, if they really are using your product and they really like your product, they're going to say, hey, I really would like to see this, or hey, this would make life a lot easier. And guess what? Your product is going to get better and better and better. So the people that come, maybe a month later or after the criticism has been given and you go implement it, the product is going to be a lot better and better. And the point here is that your customers are going to feel like, wow, you listened to me, you actually care, and use their feedback to improve your product or your business. Why does this strategy work? Well, this strategy works simply because your customers will feel closer to you. Keep in mind, if you were to wait, let's say you have a year span and you produce the product in 3 months, and you could launch on that 4th month, but instead you decide to wait a year later. So that's 6 months worth of, time that you could have launched the product. Your customers could have looked at it and say, hey, I want this and that. So you may have added a feature that really, maybe not a lot of customers really will benefit from, or they might. But the point is that that's 6 months worth of relationship building, and you could have built a closer relationship with your customers, and they will probably be happy that you launched the product. Now, that's not to say that it's okay to launch a lousy product and that's it. You want to launch a good product or a good idea that's really going to help people. But once you find that time where you're like, okay, this is enough is enough, we need to launch the product. From that point, you launch it, your customers will give you feedback. They feel that you care enough to listen to them, and you should, and you use that, you implement that, and guess what? You have a customer that for life and for a long, long time. Your retention rates are going to be higher. Anytime you try to email them in the future, they're going to be open to communicating with you and so forth. And remember, if one person complains, the others are probably complaining as well. So you definitely want constructive criticism so that you can improve your product. So that's a way to combat perfectionism, and so that you aren't disappointed in the end and you're actually a lot happier, and the results are just going to be a lot better in the end. So stop being a perfectionist. Don't have super high expectations of yourself, or else you will become disappointed. Come with realistic expectations. And once you have done the proper planning, then take action.